We always start the same way. I ask the musician, how should I introduce you?
Well, my name is Johan. I'm the guitar player from Dark Tranquillity. For a long time, I played in a band called Andromeda, and also have a band called Non-Exist,
Uh-huh.
where I sing and play guitar and do most of the things now, actually. And also a band called Skyfire, which isn't that active anymore. And also I've made a few solo albums. So that's about my
It's a very, very long career, but there's something that used to call my attention. You were
yeah.
born in 1980, and
Yes.
your first demo is 1993 with
Yeah.
Morbid Demons, I guess.
Yeah.
You were
Kind of teenage band.
13 years old.
Yeah, that's about the time I started playing with friends in bands.
Uh-huh.
I started playing guitar when I was 9, so that was 89. And then a few years later, after listening to all the metal bands we loved, we wanted to, why not try to do something on our own. So it's pretty natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then I played guitar for a couple of years, and you could play some riffs and try to do some leads and stuff. But in the beginning, of course, was pretty rudimentary. It was pretty basic in the beginning, but it was just so much fun. Just playing with other people and trying to do something, like try to do your own music. But granted, in the beginning, it's more imitation than real creation.
Uh-huh.
But that's like how everyone begins, I think.
Yeah, of course. Then
Mm.
I know musicians don't like to put themselves labels, but
Mm.
anyway, uh, what's your way of playing, your genre, your style? You play death metal, melodic
Yeah,
death metal, progressive,
yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah. And then with those solo albums I've done last couple of years is actually no metal at all, and
Uh-huh.
and some of that stuff is not even rock, or with the
Uh-huh.
rock setting it's just more ambient stuff, or synth based, or more soundscape based, so ambient stuff. So I like to do a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's been mostly in the different metal genres, like genres, like you mentioned, like
Mm-hmm.
progressive death metal, so forth. But um I remember even when I was a teenager, I started writing some music that wasn't metal at all. Like it's more like, on acoustic guitar, more kind of classically influenced, or doing like electronic music. I started
Mm-hmm.
doing that pretty early. It's just that I haven't really released any of that stuff until recently. So, I'm into writing uh different music than metal music too. So of course that's kind of the the box that I'm in, because that's
Mm-hmm.
where I've had the most I've done the most in metal. But I'm open to, not to everything, but well, like to listen to everything, but I like to write a lot of different stuff and not just metal,
Uh,
basically. Yeah.
well, as we were talking a few minutes ago, you have a very, very long list of albums you recorded, including Andromeda,
Yeah.
Non-Exist, Skyfire,
Yeah.
your solo career. Um,
Mm.
if I ask you, we need to introduce you to some kind of musician college or
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we need to choose one album. What will you choose?
Good question. uh I was listening actually the other day to reissue of Andromeda 2 is one, which is, yeah, our second album. And it's been almost more than 20 years since that album came out in 2003. And listened to the vinyl edition, and
Hmm.
it was pretty interesting, because I still think that album holds up, and it was an important album for us. And I would say I'm still very proud of that album. So I think that album could be a good introduction.
Uh-huh.
Um, granted, it's very progressive, and I do other stuff too, but that's one of the albums I'm the most proud of. And also on that album, I played bass too, because we didn't have a bass player at the time, so might also be a good introduction. But yeah, so Andromeda 2 is would be one of my choices, but it's hard to pick.
Yeah. Well, what kind of guitar do you use to play?
Use now or used to?
No, nowadays.
No. Well, I'm endorsed by Comparison,
Uh-huh.
and
The Japanese
have a few.
handmade guitars or something like that.
Yeah, Japanese. They also have offices in USA and UK, I think. But yeah, it's basically a Japanese label, and I have a few different models, but I usually play the Dellinger 2
Uh-huh.
model, which is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's 6 strings, 24 frets, 2 humbuckers, just volume control, and 3-way switch, fixed bridge. I'm pretty basic when it comes to guitars. I don't really. I try to play a 7-string. I never really. I tried it on the album. I tried it live, but I never really got comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely use the whammy bar. I have a whammy bar guitar at home just for recording, but mainly I don't really feel I need the whammy bar. Plus, live it's a lot of hassles with keeping in tune, and changing strings and all that. So, and I just want 24 frets, 6 strings. So I don't really have any, specific needs for a guitar. Actually,
Okay.
pretty
Well,
straightforward.
going to Dark Tranquillity,
Yeah.
you evolved from I think 2070 as a live member, and then in 2020 you were a full-time member. How did you leave that process? And
Well, I think the first rehearsal was in late 16, and yeah, the first tours were in 17, but I think that was more like an official statement in 2020. I would say more than just a live member pretty fast. So I mean, you have your official statements, and then you have more reality, which practically I was more than just a live member pretty fast. So. But of course, in the beginning, you play more low key. You don't want to get into a band and just start taking too much space and being a nuisance. And so I just try to grow into it naturally and take more responsibility and initiatives as you get into the band more, and you get more better contact with get to know your band members more, and get a more like relation to the fans. You see that they hopefully accept you, and then you can begin to be more of an active member and take more initiatives and responsibility. But yeah, I would say I was a full member before 2020 for sure. So it was all good. Felt pretty natural from the beginning, and always a lot of fun in this band. So it was great.
I'd like to know, how is it there in your countries? Because here, Latin American, as you may know, we're hot-blooded people that brings good things and the other. For example, here people used to get angry when bands start changing a lot of members. Now the real Sepultura, to name one band, was the blah, 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 that era, because then later, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly,
and people get very angry with that. That kind of things happen there too. For example, that Tranquility have changed a lot of members.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, in Sweden and Europe, that fans get upset. Well, yeah, I think, yeah, we have a bit more cooler mentality, as you say, than maybe you're a bit more hot-blooded in your culture. But I would say that there's also people in like this part of Europe that get a bit, disappointed sometimes that it's not the real band anymore because they changed too much or whatever. But I don't know. I think in general people are pretty accepting. I guess it depends what band it is and how much change there is, but I guess it also depends on how the new members fit into the band, and if hopefully they would enhance the band and not do a good job, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, it still happens here that fans get disappointed for sure, but I can't really relate. I don't really know because I haven't been in Uruguay, so I don't know what kind of what I have to compare to. So people get really angry sometimes, or
Yeah. Even
okay.
even talking about evolution in band.
Yeah,
Talking about Sepultura
changing the
again.
sound and all this. Yeah,
The real Sepultura was, and then
yeah,
I named the albums I like.
yeah.
As, almost I am the owner of the band even more
Yeah.
than the band
Yeah,
itself. It's a strange
I know.
phenomenon.
Yeah, but that's interesting, and I can kind of relate because also I'm a huge Sepultura fan. So for me, my Sepultura is basically schizophrenia to Arise
Uh-huh.
or the Barcelona Live. That's my like golden era. But then I gave them a chance and listened to a few of the albums with Derek, and I thought it was really good actually. So I was kind of, yeah, this is cool. This is the new Sepultura, or new. It's been around for a long time, so but it's never gonna be my Sepultura in the heart. But I accept that it's an evolution, and they're doing a really good job. So it's cool.
Uh-huh.
It's all good.
Well, going back to Dark Tranquillity,
Mm.
how do you face up playing guitars that were which were recorded by another guitar player? Do you try to do it just like the original sound, or do you try to deliver your own style?
That's a good question. Um, to be respectful to the legacy and to the fans and to the music, a lot of times I try to really figure it out what they played. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes I ask the original guitar players and they might not even remember 100%. Or sometimes things have been changed already live, so then it's a bit of a confusion. But I try to get it as close as possible. But sometimes, okay, you can actually improve some things, which I think the original guitar players did also themselves. But then when it comes to like solo, sometimes I actually do my own thing. Although most times I will start the solo as it was recorded, because a lot of times it's a great melody, a hook, and people want to hear that too, so they don't get totally thrown off. But at the end of solos, I tend to do a little extra something to put my style on it. So but for the most part, I try to play it as it was played on the albums and or live. So
Yeah,
but it's not always easy to do it exactly, because yeah, every guitar player have their own way of playing. So
yeah,
it's bound to
because
be a bit of difference.
I think it must be real hard because maybe you could end up feeling you're playing in some kind of tribute band, and
Yeah,
not being a real guitar player. It must be something very very complicated to figure it out.
yeah. I know what you mean. It's a valid point, but I never really felt like that because I've been a fan of the band since the first album in '93. So for me, the music feels pretty close to my heart. So if it just I kind of feel like I'm part of the music, even though a lot of the songs were written way before I joined. It still feels natural to me. So, but it's a good question because there is only one Martin Henriksson and Niklas Sundin. I mean, I can only be myself, but yeah, I just have to
Yeah.
do the best I can.
Well, and what do you think about Moment? Almost 3 years later,
Yeah,
you were a six-piece band after a long time. Well, you
yeah.
were not part of the previous six-piece band with two guitar players. How do you see that album?
It was very interesting for me because it was the first album I was involved in. in the studio. And but it was very cool because pretty early on I was getting involved in the songwriting process, because basically the Anders Givarp, the previous drummer, had a lot of demos, and I was invited to, first of all, to kind of work on his demos and maybe do some improvements or give some different ideas or whatever. And the guys were really pleased with that. So then I was kind of taken into the whole process. And I started writing with the guys in the studio. We don't really write in the rehearsal room. We write in the studio, like working with digital, computer program and digital audio. And but then I also presented some of my own demos, and there were some of those songs that were actually my songs from the beginning. So it was really cool. I got pretty involved in that album.
Great,
writing quite a bit of it.
I don't know, short time ago, you released the last Imagination. We could expect this is this song represent the new material, the new album.
Well, yeah, I think it's a good start to. It's not that extreme of a song. I mean, it's pretty mid-pace, and it kind of I think it's a good representation of at least of just the vibe of Tranquillity with that kind of a mix of melancholy and heaviness. But the album is going to be more diverse. You can expect a lot more diversity on the album than. So there's not going to be like 10 more songs like this one. There's going to be songs with different moods and styles. So this is just the beginning of the album, so to speak.
Great. Well, you'll be playing next April 25, I guess. Please tell the people here in Uruguay, why should they attend to that Tranquillity show?
Well, you're gonna see a great mix of all your favorite tracks from the past and also some new stuff. So I think it's gonna be a pretty long set, I think. So I think everyone's gonna get something they like for sure. And at least I haven't been to Uruguay before, so that's gonna be interesting. I think the other guys have been there before, but it was also a long time ago. So we're really pumped up to see you guys over there.
I think it must be very hard to choose the songs for the set list.
Yeah, I mean, it's just mathematically, logically, it gets more difficult for each album because you're not playing. I mean, basically, your set is not getting longer. So at max, you're gonna have like 90 minutes, and you have more and more songs to choose from. So there's gonna be songs dropped. But yeah, I mean, it's also where you can make it better and better because you really have a great competition, so to speak, of a lot of material to really get the best one. Yeah, we're also going to try to do more and more variation, so you can expect more old songs coming back, and of course also new songs from the new album. So we will try to make it interesting, keep it interesting for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, man.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Muchas gracias.
Goodbye, man. Thank you very much.
Bye.